Hello students, welcome to Legacy IS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the recent breakthrough that has been achieved in the process of nuclear fusion. We are also going to discuss what is nuclear fusion, how it is different from nuclear fission process, and why this particular breakthrough that has been achieved is significant from the energy generation point of view and also from the climate change point of view. So let us start and delve deeper into this particular topic. So first of all, if we try to understand the context in which we are discussing today's topic, is because recently the scientists in United Kingdom through the nuclear fusion energy generation process have generated or produced the largest amount of energy so far. And this is very important because it is considered or seen as a major breakthrough in the ongoing global efforts to produce a nuclear reactor that is not based on conventional fission process but indeed on the fusion process. And why this is relevant or important is because a much more amount of energy is released or generated via nuclear fusion process than fission process. Now, before going into this particular breakthrough, let us try to understand that what is nuclear fusion and how this happens. So nuclear fusion as relative to nuclear fission is a process in which nuclei of relatively smaller atoms, for example, mainly it is hydrogen atoms, which combine together or join together at a very high temperature, and after this they produces a nucleus of heavier atom. If it is hydrogen atoms that are combining, they'll produce a nucleus of heavier atom that will be helium, and also at the same time a very huge amount of energy is generated in this process, which can be used to run the turbine and generate the electricity. This is also the process that occurs at the core of every star including sun, where temperature of almost 15 to 16 million degrees Celsius each present, and in this such a high temperature a smaller atoms of hydrogen combine to form helium and releases the energy which sustains the we can say life of this star. For example, as of sun, around 90% of sun's we can say this gaseous elements present in the sun is around hydrogen, and about 8% is helium that has been formed due to joining and combining of the hydrogen, and that is how the sun releases and gets its energy from. At the same time, this is the diagram that represents the nuclear fusion process. We can see we have combining of two different hydrogen atoms, and we have generation of helium atoms, we have formation of a neutron, and as a byproduct a huge amount of energy is also generated. However, this nuclear fusion has a much added advantage as compared to fission. There are certain challenges that it poses to the scientists of the world. What are these challenges? Let us try to discuss one by one. The first and the foremost important challenge that fusion poses is that for the fusion process to occur, for fusing of two lighter nuclei to occur, a temperature of very higher degrees of almost few million degrees Celsius are even required, and that is very difficult to achieve in the lab scale or laboratory scenario. This process can occur very easily in the core region or the center region of a star because their temperature in 15 million, 20, 30 million degrees Celsius temperature is achieved there. Second challenge pertains with the high temperature. Suppose that by some means or by any means we are able to achieve such a high degree of temperature, then in such high temperature range the matter does not remain in solid, liquid or gaseous stage. They convert into the fourth stage, that is the plasma state. And plasma state of matter, since they are very highly energetic particles, they are not able to they are very difficult to control through. Their movement is difficult to ascertain and control, and that is why it will become very difficult to handle their movement. That will also a challenge in the laboratory environment. Third challenge comes with the designing of the nuclear reactor, because if we want to produce energy on a mass scale, on the commercial scale from nuclear fusion process, we need a reactor that can produce such a huge amount, that can contain such a huge amount of matter, energy and all these things. And at such a high degree of temperature as we discussed is required for fusion to take place, we need to also find certain materials, certain metals that can withstand such a high degree of temperature. So that also is a limitation that scientists will have to overcome to translate this dream into actual reality. Now suppose if we are able to overcome all these three challenges, fusion definitely definitely has an added advantage as compared to fission. Let us try to understand what are the advantages nuclear fusion energy offers as compared to fission. So first advantage is in the amount of energy that is generated by the both process. As compared to fission, nuclear fusion is able to produce 4 times as much as energy, and that is why it is more energy efficient. If we try to compare both, suppose that in this particular example we have fusion of two different lighter nuclei isotopes of hydrogen, that is deuterium and tritium. they produces helium atoms, and at the same time 4 times as much energy is generated as compared to this conventional nuclear fission process, where a uranium atom is decaying, or uranium atom is split into 2 lighter atoms, that is barium and krypton, and whatever energy is being generated at this particular point. So that is the first advantage of fusion. Now, second advantage also it offers from the climate change point of view, from the global warming point of view, because as compared to fission, in fusion the carbon emissions are almost negligible, almost non-existent, and not even that, the amount of radioactive waste that is generated or that will be generated in nuclear fusion process will be much lesser as compared to the fission. So in this reference, this is also a safer alternative in the form of energy generation. For example, if you remember Fukushima disaster that happened when a very significant earthquake and tsunami struck the coastal region of Japan, due to the mixing or due to the discharge or spilling of radioactive waste in the seawater, it caused a much larger damage and panic in the local population. At the same time, the disaster that happened in Chernobyl region of Ukraine, that is one of the deadliest disaster as nuclear disaster of the world. That time also, due to the release or discharge of this radioactive waste, they mixed up with the atmospheric gases, and they were taken to a much longer regions, and that is why a large number of countries of European regions were affected by that. So these kind of disaster, these kind of threats that fission generator or nuclear fusion energy generator possesses will not be present in the nuclear fusion. Third, also it offers an added advantage from the viewpoint of supply or sufficient supply of raw material. In nuclear fusion generation, we required uranium, which is not available in all the countries. For example, even you take an example of India. India has to heavily depend on import of uranium atoms for sustenance or generation of power from its nuclear energy reactor. However, if we are able to attain a commercial level energy generation from the nuclear fusion process, what we'll require? We'll require just the hydrogen, which is abundantly available everywhere in the atmosphere across the world. So we just have to extract hydrogen or in the lab, and then we'll be able to produce energy from this fusion of the hydrogen atoms. So to convert this dream into a reality, the countries of the world have collaborated to develop a project that is called as ITER project. ITER stands for International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, where more than 30 countries, almost 35 countries are there. They have collaborated, they have come together, and they have decided to develop a reactor, a laboratory reactor in the southern France region, and India is also a participating country in this particular project. The main purpose of ITER project is not to produce commercial power, but it basically aims for scientific research and the demonstration of the technology, nuclear fusion technology of a large fusion reactor without actually generating the electricity. So it will actually form a base from which the other laboratories, other we can say reactors or other energy plants can develop and can function on the nuclear fusion concept. However, due to the limitations and challenges that nuclear fusion energy generation plant possesses, the ITER project began in 1985. The deadline for completion of this project has been delayed several times, and it has been extended several times even to certain decades. And as of now, only by year 2035, the ITER project or the lab is expected to become operational and functional. As of now, if we try to understand the status of this particular project, it is in machine assembly phase. Machine assembly phase means a large number of millions of components, millions of tools and parts of this particular reactor is being manufactured and is being set up in different countries of the world. Once all these parts are manufactured, they will be brought up in the southern France region, where the assembly will be done. Continuously assembling is being done, but more and more parts will be added later, and then by the year 2035, the reactor will become fully functional and operational. If we try to understand the role or the status of India in the ITER project, so India actually joined this particular project in year 2005 and is one of the 7 partners. Though the ITER is a collaborative effort of 35 countries, only 7 countries are considered as partner countries, and India is one of the partner countries along with US, UK, European Union and Russia as a partner countries. As far as the institute or research and development in India is concerned, that is related with ITER, it is the Institute for Plasma Research located in the Ahmedabad of Gujarat, which is a nodal institute where the research and development and the collaborative effort on this particular project is being made. India is not only providing them with R&D support, but is also building several important components of ITER while also carrying out number of experiments related to the particular project. So overall, what we can understand from this point is that India has a very significant role to play and has very important status as far as the International Thermonuclear Energy Generator project is concerned. So overall, if you look at briefly what we can conclude from all our understanding of this particular project, that as of now it is just an experimental project, not a commercial project. And the energy that ITER is going to produce will be somewhere around 500 megawatt. This will not be used for any commercial purposes, but this will just be in the form of electricity that can be utilized in a simple way, and it will serve as a technology demonstrator machine that will enable the building of futuristic nuclear fusion devices that can run as normally as the fission reactor today. So what we can understand is the ITER, if it becomes successful by year 2035, it will act as a base mark or it will act as a benchmark, taking an example of which or from which the countries can further develop this into actual commercial level project. But at least since ITER itself is expected to complete in year 2035, actual generation of energy on a commercial scale via nuclear fusion plant cannot be possible, or we cannot expect unless until year 2050 or 2060. So still it is very far, and that is why till then we'll have to depend on the fission as the process of nuclear energy generation, and fusion will come later. So I hope you understood about this particular topic well. If you like it, please like, share and subscribe. We'll come again soon with another interesting topic. Till then, take care. Thank you very much.